Thank you very much, Council. We'll call the meeting to order at 1:30. Thank you for your attendance. Just before we begin, Councillor Mark McGill is absent, of course, today. He's going in for a little repair, and I know on behalf of Council and staff, administration, we wish Mark the very, very best. I think everyone else is in attendance. Today's meeting is being held as a virtual meeting due to the declared emergency. In order to keep everyone safe, we're taking this measure to help stop the spread of COVID-19. Although this is a virtual meeting, we will attempt to record, stream live, and publish in accordance with Council's electronic recording meeting policy. Due to the pandemic, at the requirement for social distancing, in order to keep you safe, we are not able to allow the public to attend this meeting. Normally, by attending an open public meeting, you are consenting to your image, voice, and/or comments being recorded. Today's meeting may be streamed live as well as recorded and published on the Southwest Middlesex YouTube channel and website. Council item number 2 on your agenda is the disclosure of pecuniary interest. Is there any member of council declaring a pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? Okay, we can give this council a minute. I don't see any hands coming up. Additions to agenda, item number 3, I remind council that this is a catch-up meeting from our last meeting in order not to go too far beyond curfew. We postponed some items. We are hoping to deal with those. I'll give you just a moment for reflection on additions to agenda, but we hope to keep it to the requirements that are before us as a result of not completing the last meeting. Thank you, Council. Would someone entertain a mover and a seconder that the regular agenda of Council dated February 18th, 2021 be accepted as presented? Councillor Doug Bartlett, and seconded by Councillor Mike Scholdice. Discussion? All in favor? Carried. Thank you, Council. Delegations and presentations. There are none, I don't believe. Jill, just correct me if I'm wrong. Consent agenda. We got through that at the last meeting. There's no additions. Committee of Adjustment. I'll just pause and look for council's reaction. I don't see any. Public meetings under the Planning Act. None. Number 8 on your agenda, Council, our staff reports. A is fire. I don't believe there is any. B is administration. I do not believe there is any. C is building permits. I do not believe there are any. Finance. Not at this time.
So Mayor Mayhew?
Yes.
Everything is just under section 11.
Okay.
Unfinished business.
Well, we're just about there. Facilities and recreation, public works, there's none. Notice of motion, Jill, none have been recorded or submitted. Correspondence and petitions, none, and we were back to 11 unfinished business. Finance utility budget, lengthy document prepared. Kristen, would you like to lead us and walk us through this, please?
I can, sure. This is usually a fairly easy one for council to review each year. We've set rates for multiple years. So we don't need to make decisions on the revenue that's charged. Really, it's for the most part just approving the projects that Aqua has recommended. And I guess if we need, Greg's available on the call if we've got, or in the meeting if we've got questions on that. But if council has any specific questions.
Thank you,
Yes.
Kristen. There is a question there. Councillor Vink, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mayor Allen. Yes, it says 2021. Is that the last year of the utility budget that we adopted in 2013?
I think
And
it's
also, how much is the increase for this year, percentage wise?
I would have to look, but I think we approved to 2022. And I think I have it fairly handy. Maybe I don't. The water rates, I'm sorry, it goes to 2023. So the water rates are going from 46.47 to 47.40. Capital surcharge remains the same, and the cubic meter goes from 2.297 to 2.343. The Glencoe sewer is going from 1593 to 1625. 1.733 per cubic meter to 1.767. And the capital charge remains the same. And Wardsville is going from 335.58 annually to 337.50. So up just a couple of dollars there. And the cubic meter rate is going from 3.811 to 3.887.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Councillor Bink. Kristen, Council, any other suggestions or comments or inquiries you wish to make on the utility budget? If I could, I think all councillors I don't think any of us have ever experienced a term of council that we have not been questioned on water rates. And Kristen and I go back to a document that's somewhat dated, but the comparison chart you did on 2018 water rates you did at one time, and I think you based that on cubic meters, 20 cubic meters of usage per month. And it's always interesting to look at that, and I guess that's what we inform our ratepayers of on a comparative basis, what we charge. At the time of that, from high to low in a range of 12, Southwest Middlesex was 6th, right in the center. And I always find that's a comfortable position to be in. We fully realized that Wardsville was not, that they in fact were, I think, the second highest at the time. North Middlesex was the only other municipality that was higher than them. But it's always nice to be in that second range. From time to time, I think it's important to do a comparison on that. And, perhaps it can be coming somewhat down the line to see how we're doing as well. With these increases, I'm sure other municipalities are increasing them as well. And if anyone's been reading the paper, North Middlesex has had some challenges on water rates, and their rates have gone up substantially. But, as a municipality, I think we can be proud of our water system. Aqua is looking after us very well. I know it's monitored. The financial responsibility is monitored quite a bit, but it's nice to be in the center. Councillor Cal, go ahead.
With the possibility of future water projects coming up, with the things that we've submitted and the planning that we've put forward for grants and things like that, is there any need to be making an adjustment to these rates if these projects are potentially pending?
No, I don't think at this time I wouldn't recommend that. I think our reserves right now, they were built up for this reason. We were anticipating these types of works to be done. So I think we should be able to absorb that with the capital charge that we've put away from the rates that we've been collecting.
Thank you, Kristen. And Councillor Cowell, go ahead with your follow-up.
I'm just going to make the motion that
okay.
We accept the recommendation from staff.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there a second for that? Councillor Crothers, thank you. Discussion, Council? I want to thank Councillor Cowell for bringing that up, the grant aspect of it. I think that's very important that we continue to push our provincial government for the need and the importance of infrastructure grants. We cannot ever let that off our radar. that, and as you know, we have projects that will cost in excess of $1 million for infrastructure replacement. So as counselors, as administration, we have to continually be knocking on the door of the province for infrastructure funding all the time.
Can I jump in quickly, Mary Ellen?
Yep. Yes, go ahead. Thank you, Greg. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you're touching on a point that's kind of with me every day, and that, you know, when I kind of look at, you know, the pressures that we have in development going on in the municipality right now. You know, I also sit on our county group, and our county group, every municipality pretty much is experiencing the same thing right now. And, you know, we have the province that's out there, you know, wanting development. We've got our councils that want development, and, you know, we're going to have serious challenges in our infrastructure moving forward in the future. So I've put some tentative numbers together based on our existing developments. And it's, you know, we're closing in on capacity at our sanitary plant in Glencoe. So, you know, it will help in the future if this council, you know, puts pressure on the provincial government. I think it's fair for the provincial government to say that they want development, but can our municipality, can we afford $10 million in improvement to a sanitary system in Glencoe because the province wants development? And are they going to sit at the table with us and give us some cash to get this stuff done? We're only a municipality of 5,000 people. And, you know, we're not going to be able to accept development moving forward in the next year here if we do not get the province to act. Like, I don't think anybody's saying that the local municipalities not make their contributions to these projects, but to expect our small municipality to come up with that type of funding, and if we don't have it in the bank, I mean, I guess the only way to do it is to debenture it and then recharge it. So, you know, this is an area that concerns public works, and it concerns not just us, but it also concerns all the other municipalities in our county right now that are experiencing the same problems. So I just thought I'd mention that because this is extremely important, because we all want development, but we can't have development if we can't get rid of the effluent, and we don't have the water.
Yes, thank you very much, Greg. Deputy Mayor Wilkins, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. After listening to Greg, maybe it's time that we have a sit-down meeting with our local MPP, or a virtual meeting with our local MPP, invite all local mayors and deputy mayors to be involved with it. We're not the only ones that are going to be experiencing such deficits in the infrastructure in the near future. So I'm just putting that out there, and hopefully we could do something with that sooner than later.
Yep. Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. And anyone, certainly that's perhaps an issue we can bring up at the future AMO conferences as well. Jill, go ahead there. Jill, you pop in here.
Certainly, that's something that Greg mentioned, the public works directors, et cetera, but I'd be happy to reach out to other local CAOs to have that conversation and see if you wanted to organize something where we have the opportunity to have a conversation with a sitting member who is part of the cabinet. Can be a good.
I think that would be a good idea. Yes, go ahead, Deputy Mayor. Yeah.
Do you want that in a motion, Jill, or not?
Sure.
Okay,
I'll make
Deputy
that
Mayor.
motion.
Okay,
I'll
there's
make
already
that
a motion. Yeah, there's
Oh,
already
sorry,
a motion on the floor.
sorry. Yeah,
so how
I'm
about we
sorry.
call that, and then
Yep.
we'll and that's thank you very much, though.
Perfect.
That's we'll get right on it.
Thank you for reminding me.
More haste, less waste. That's good. So let's all call the question on the utility budget. The motion has been moved and seconded. Passing the utility, all in favor of the utility budget as presented? Thank you very much. Council is passed. Deputy Mayor, go ahead and make that motion.
I'll make that motion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Seconded by Ian Crothers. Councillor Crothers, discussion, or if any councillor needs it reread. We're going to pursue a conversation with our MPP regarding the need for infrastructure funding. No questions? All in favor? Passed unanimously. Thank you. Operations, section 11B on your agenda, Council. Jill, it is regarding the condition assessment of roads and sidewalks. An asset street scan of roads and sidewalks. So Greg, could you walk us through this?
Yep, certainly can. Mayor Allen, can you hear me okay? I don't have everybody up. I'm looking at my report.
Perfectly. That's fine.
Okay, so I'm going to highlight just a few of the issues associated with the report. Certainly the first part is, a big part of my job these days is to, try to continue to gain progress on the asset management program that we have in place. And a big key to that is that we've worked on all our assets and, we're making that next step into condition assessments of our assets. So if everybody remembers, all our asset management plans that have been delivered and created in the last 5 years or so have been all age-based and age-driven. We're now getting into the situation where all our infrastructure is going to be assessed for its condition, and then that will be reflective in the production of the capital infrastructure plan moving forward. So as part of the county group, again, we all sit and we try to come up with the more efficient ways to get stuff done. And LAS, the Local Authority Services, which was created in 1992 by AMO, was tasked with going out in the market and trying to help municipalities with their asset management programs in the condition assessment side. So they procured StreetScan, which basically they have a unit that drives our roadways, and they can do complete assessments of our roads and our sidewalks using their vehicles and their technology. And so LAS procured this particular group to come into all the municipalities, and every one of the municipalities in Middlesex County is going to be using them to do their condition assessments on roads. The purchasing policy that's approved by council, section 17 of that allows for cooperative purchasing. And we exercise that right under the policy, and got pricing provided to us by StreetScan. The actual cost of the project is $27,000, $557. And we had allocated $50,000 in the budget. So it's about just a little over half that particular allocation. Now, I will say with the group procurement, this is one of the reasons that we've got this really good price. So my recommendation moving forward is for council to approve the was provided by StreetScan in the amount of $27,557, taxes included, for the assessment of all hard surface roads and sidewalks within Southwest Middlesex. I don't know if anybody's got any questions, but certainly can answer those. Try to anyway.
Thank you very much, Greg. That was a very interesting report. And we'll entertain questions from council. Councillor Vink, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Allen. To Greg, didn't we already have a sidewalk assessment and road assessment? I know this is more detailed, but didn't we have some of these studies before?
Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, through you, Mayor Allen. Before my time here, there was a sort of an informal assessment done of the sidewalks by our own staff. And I do have that, Martin. And I will be using that informal assessment on trying to put out the sidewalk, like our worst sidewalk areas, to get repaired for this summer. So what this will do is this, when they assess the sidewalks, you have to remember that everything that like all the condition assessments come back in based on the asset itself. So if we have an asset defined between two streets, then that particular section of roadway and sidewalk will be condition assessed. So, it's related completely to our assets. What we had done before was just an informal, where one of the staff walked around and looked at the sidewalks and said, that one's in really bad shape, we'll put that one down. So yes, it's informal, but we'll use that in the production of our material that we put out to get sidewalk work done this summer. But this is a continuation of our asset management program, and we will see this with everything, including all the pipes in the ground, all our buildings, all our trucks, everything that we own. You will see this type of condition assessment moving forward for the next couple of years.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Councillor Vink. Any further questions? Yes, Councillor Cal, go ahead.
I have a couple of questions. I believe this will also be used for the gravel roads. That's my understanding. A couple of years ago, we were able to set aside some money into the roads maintenance budget with the hope that in the future we could use some of that money to begin the process of upgrading some of our gravel roads to tar and chip roads. And one of the first things that was discussed in that process was that we would need to do an analysis of our hard surfaces. So I'm wondering if this is the first step in this process.
Greg, go ahead.
Yeah, through you, Mayor Ellen, this will not be any assessment of gravel roads. So it's really hard surface roads at this particular point. You know, there is a question out there that, you know, gravel roads aren't even part of an asset management program. Like, we have them listed in our program at this particular point, but, you know, we service those particular roadways and operations every year. So it's a little bit of a different asset than you would have in a capital asset, where you're sort of defining, you know, your hard surface roads on the surface, on the base of the road, et cetera. And then, you know, based on the condition, then that will come up. You know, if they're rated as poor, then they would come up in the capital infrastructure plan because it's rated as poor, not because it was put in at a certain date. So in with regards to turning roads into, from gravel roads into tar and chip roads, that's a process that can be ongoing at any time, Krista, so, or Councillor Cowell. And if there was, you know, interest in moving forward in the future, like, we would do those assessments and we would provide council with the costing to bring the road up to a different provincial standard. So, and most of the time that's all based on volume and that type of thing. So, you know, moving forward in the future, if we do have areas that need to be looked at to bring up the standard, then we would do that based on council's direction.
Okay, and a follow-up question, Councillor Cal, go ahead.
Yes, just as a follow-up. So I think that's my part of misunderstanding, because I understood that any type of upgrade would need to be done based on analysis of the usage. So I think that this is where I must have misunderstood the different types of analysis for the roadways. So I know we've been setting aside money in a reserve for this project eventually, but we need a significant amount more before we can, I think, commit to a project of that size.
Looking at the hands of council. Thank you, Councillor Cowell, very much. Greg, yes, Councillor Scholdice, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I know this is slightly off topic, but the subject of this year's sidewalks came up, and I just wondered when council will be seeing the tenders for this year's sidewalk work.
Yeah, Greg, go ahead.
Yeah, through you, Mayor Allen, when I can get the specifications done. So, you know, again, this is, if this project is going to run $120,000, then my only choice is to put it out as a tender or an RFP. So that would mean that we would, you know, I would need to get that information together to get that out on the market. So I'm trying to think of different ways that I can do this right now within the procurement policy to quicken up the process, but we'll see how that goes. So, you know, it's a tough one because you still have to come up with the specifications.
Yeah, and thank you, Greg. And Councillor Scholdice, a follow-up, no problem.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. Would you like a motion that we put it out for tender? Jill,
Yeah,
go ahead, Jill. I'll let Jill cut in, and Greg, you're on deck.
Yeah, through you, your worship, council staff has already got the direction to for the capital budget item, so I don't think we need any further direction on that.
Okay.
Yeah, through you, Mayor Allen, I have to follow the procurement policy. So when it's this number, I only have two choices. I can put it out in an RFP or I can put it out in a tender. In this particular case, it'd probably be better to go out as a tender because I could probably prepare the specs myself that, you know, aren't so engineered. I mean, it isn't that complicated, but at the same time, I got to get all the areas right. I got to provide all the mapping. I got to provide all the base document itself. So, you know, I probably would put it out as a tender anyway, but like I said, I want to try to quicken this up a little bit as well. So,
okay. I think admin and council, I think it all centers around the knowledge-based decisions. And with this, it gives us a knowledge-based decision. Any other questions? Greg, if I could have just one question myself. The street scan is an extremely interesting concept of analysis. Is there, above and beyond the 27,000 that we're spending, and perhaps Kristen can answer this as well, is there a software cost on an annual basis that we must have to maintain this aspect on an annual basis? I know I brought to the attention to council before, our software costs are on an annual basis are increasing, but is there with StreetScan? Will there be software costs annually?
Through you, Mayor Allen, no. This is a one-time project. The information that we get from this project will be deposited into our asset management program.
Okay.
But we do not require software from them. As part of our discussion with them, we will want to make sure that the format that they're using in the field is consistent with our asset management program. So the transfer of information is seamless to the asset management
Okay.
program.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, Councillor Crothers, I see your hand sliding up there. Go ahead, Ian.
Yes, the Mayor, Greg. Is this constantly updated manual by yourself or your staff? As far as, for instance, if you put in new sidewalks, is that updated as the work's done? So this is always current. If you were to repair a road or something, is this all just so over time?
Yeah, through you, Mary Ellen, this is one of the challenges that we have in front of us right now. Is that a big part of what I do, working on these assets, is to try to bring the base assets up to today. And then once you sort of pin conditions on those particular assets, then you have an asset that will be recalled when it needs to be replaced based on its condition rather than age. But you're right, Councillor Crothers. I mean, we need to get our base assets to today, and then we need to move forward. So in the case, say, of, if we had a big water line replacement in downtown Glencoe, as part of the plan and the engineering for that, we would also include in that the engineer then updates the asset in our asset management program when the job is finished. So then, say we got a new pipe downtown Glencoe, it's a brand new pipe, they're going to give it a useful life of 40 years. And they're going to then give you the new replacement costs associated with it, et cetera. It will go into the asset management plan, but you will not see it until 5 years before the 40 years comes up. So yes, I mean, I need to get the assets to where we have them today, and then update assets as we do the work right away, so that we have a current asset management program right now. And what I got when I first started this was a number of condition assessments that are sitting on the floor. They're no good sitting on the floor. So, I need to get them in the system, and this is what we're trying to do right now. And a big part of I meet every 2 weeks with Citywide, with Public Sector Digest, to try to keep this moving forward. And, we certainly have legislative requirements that we have to meet to, as far as submission of our asset management plan is concerned. So it's a lot of work, but I mean, I do agree with you that we need to have this current, but bringing it to get it to current is challenging. So.
Yeah, Jill's nodding her head there. Go ahead, Jill.
Yeah, I would say Greg, and Kristen, myself, Colin, Alex, Rob, we've all spent a significant amount of time working with Public Sector Digest, but the bulk of it has been with Greg, and he's done a great job working with Public Sector Digest to get them to help us. So we have the plan, and you'll recall, Council, that you adopted a strategic policy and how to move forward with asset management planning, and your obligation for this summer is to have an asset management plan in place with mostly your linear assets having some kind of service level standards. So that's why we're working so hard to try to get the information in there so that we can actually work with you to put in place what the service level is, so that then your asset management plan actually aligns to where you want to be in terms of providing those service to the public. And then in future, what you're going to see is your facilities, recreational assets, other things like that you're going to do the same thing with. So to your point, Mayor Mayhew, it's absolutely about making decisions with a lot of evidence in front of you in terms of why you're moving forward with replacing it or keeping it as it is. And then based on what it is that your community needs for the service.
Good, thank you, Jill. Yeah, no, knowledge-based decisions seem to be the direction to go. Yes, Councillor Kyle, I see your hand. Go ahead, Krista.
I'd like to move the recommendation.
Thank you very much. Is there a council? Yes, Deputy Mayor Wilkins, are you seconding that? Thank you. Any last questions to Greg? Greg, thank you. That was an interesting 29-page report. Enjoyed reading it. Last call. I'll call all in favor. Carried unanimously. Thank you very much, Council. Thank you, Greg. Under unfinished business, we have the McFarland Drain, Section 78 improvement request go in. Yes, Councilor Crothers.
Yes, sorry. This is referring to the proposal we just passed on street scan. There is a surplus of roughly 23,000. Could a portion of that be added to the sidewalk budget? We're 2 years behind basically on replacement. Is that a possibility to discuss?
Yeah. Thank you, Councilor Crothers. I didn't realize I missed your hand there, Ian. Apologize for that. Greg, we went quite a ways under budget on this. Could you answer Councilor Crothers' question?
Through you, Mayor Allen, Kristen would probably be the best one to tackle.
Okay.
She knows where all the money came from and how we spend it.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So
I can bring back a proposal. Usually I will, I'll reserve any over budget from projects. Like I don't just let it roll back into the general surplus if I can help it. So we can apportion that to sidewalk projects going forward, or I can bring back a report with that information in it if you'd like.
okay, that would work. Yeah. Yeah, we certainly know the reserves are kept in a sacred place, and but we know we certainly want to get sidewalks going. It's been last year we didn't envision the work that we were hoping to get done, so we hope we can see it this year. I'll continue on with the McFarland Drain. Andrew, could you walk us through this, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is similar to the Towers Bridge on the McFarland Drain downstream, except for a different property. Back earlier in late January, Mr. Zwombag brought it to my attention that there was an issue with his head wall on his bridge. So I went to investigate, and head wall on his bridge was leaning into the drain. And also there it was found that the culvert in his bridge had holes in it. And it was a condition that eventually, within not that much time, would start to cause sinkholes in the bridge, and it wouldn't be safe to travel anymore. And also the overall width of the bridge was a concern. It was too narrow. So it was after I had done some research into this bridge, he was given the two options of replacement. Either it was done privately, where Mr. Zwombag absorbs the whole cost of the bridge with no cost sharing upstream, or he requests under Section 78 of the Drainage Act, which would involve an engineer to write a report and have cost sharing. And that is the only way that cost sharing would be allowed, would be through Section 78. And as far as my recommendation, I do recommend that council accepts this request under Section 78 for concession 5, lot 21, Gerald and Joanna Zwombag. And also that staff contact landowners upstream and the Conservation Authority for feedback and bring the findings to council.
Thank you, Mr. Neely. Questions, Councilor Crothers?
Yes, to you, the mayor. Is there a benefit to the upstream people as far as cost sharing? Is the benefit the possibility of the bridge collapsing and then cutting off the flow? I'm just not clear on that, as opposed to him paying the whole shot himself.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, thank you for the question, Councilor Carruthers. When anything like this is done under a new engineer's report, if you look at the schedule of assessment in the report, the upstream landowners will often have their assessment under outlet only, not benefit. They don't see direct benefit for the bridge, but the outlet portion of it is allocated to upstream landowners under the rationale that those lands had contributed towards the normal decay of the bridge through water flowing through that bridge, and so they are responsible for contributing towards its replacement.
Thank you. Any further questions? That's good. I think Councillor McGill may have had an interest in this drainage program, and I think he indicated that he would have to declare perhaps a conflict of interest, but in his absence, that's not a problem. But as I say, we wish him well. Last call for questions on this. Section 78 be submitted for Gerald and Joanna Zwanbank. All in favor? Or someone moved, if someone made the motion, thank you. Councillor Vink, seconded by Councillor Scholdice. Moved and seconded. Vink, Scholdice. I'll call the question if there's no more discussion. All in favor? Carried unanimously. We are on section C of the agenda, page 5 of 6, the MLHU request for mosquito larviciding permits. This is an annual thing in catch basins, low water areas.
Mayor Mayhew, I'll move this. Mayor
Thank you
Mayhew,
very
I'll
much.
move this report.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Wilkins, and seconded by Councillor Bartlett. Any discussion? All in favor? That's good. Keeps us ahead of West Nile virus. Council, we did not get to the approval of Wilton's Mini Mart requesting for the permission to open on statutory holidays. This was deferred as a result of the council. Would someone entertain to move this? Is there questions regarding this? Councillor Cal?
I have a question, but I will also move it.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll ask for a seconder, then we'll open it for discussion, Council. Councillor Scholdice, thank you very much. Council, questions? Jill, I'm going to let you go first here.
Sure, sorry, just to interject. We'll have to amend what the original staff recommendation was to take out the request for the past statutory holiday.
Yes, the family
That's
day.
the change that there would be.
Okay, thank you, Jill. And the family day would be taken out of that motion. Council, we have a motion. There's Councillor Cal, you have no problem with it adding as amended in that?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Krista.
So do we have to do this every single year? Because I know that we've had Wiltons come forward in the past with, I thought, something very similar. So if we're removing that holiday, does that mean we're doing this every year? And is there a way to make this easier for Wiltons so that they don't have to come back? Because it's evident they potentially lost a day as a result of this being pushed off the last agenda. So is there some way we can streamline this or make this easier, or vote for 2 years or something along those lines?
Jill, I'll let you answer that in terms of a procedure protocol.
Sure. This is governed by the Retail Business Holidays Act, and the way that it's set up in Southwest Middlesex is that they would have to come every year to make that request, because I don't believe you have any special designation within their community related to tourism.
So as a follow-up, is that
Yes, go ahead, Krista. Yep.
In the CIP, or is that something that we can change, like I said, to streamline this process so that they don't have to come back every year?
streamlining the process. Jill, any further comments on that?
Sure. So communities that are designated as tourist locations, as I mentioned, that's under the Retail Business Holidays Act. So it would have to be done under that process to designate your community as a tourist destination.
Yeah. Thank you. And just Councillor Cowell, as an example of that would be the village of Dutton. They are close enough to the lake that they have some benefits that other communities don't in terms of the Holiday Retail Act where they're situated. Okay, Council, I'll call the question. Any other questions? All in favor of the motion? Carried unanimously. Item 12, council, new business. Joe, I don't believe there is any. Okay, is that correct? Yep.
So there was nothing on the previous agenda to carry on, and that was it.
Okay, thank you very much for clarifying that. County Council conference and updates. Council, I will have a report for you on County Council at the next council meeting.
Mayor Allen?
Yes, a couple of hands up here. Deputy Mayor Wilkins first. I saw her hand, and Councillor Vink here to follow. Go ahead, Mary Gay.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I'm just wondering what council thinks about maybe moving your report from County Council to just information item or even into the consent item. And if anybody has any questions, they could ask either the day of the meeting or contact you ahead of time, Mayor Allen.
Sure, it can be, it would have to be, yes, thank you very much. I can do that. It would have to be word process. Sometimes I give those reports verbally, but I can word process and submit it. There's no problem. Yeah.
I think probably once a month would be sufficient, but that's just
so,
my
yeah.
my
Yep.
feeling on that.
Okay. Other councillors certainly have a comment on this too. I would, yes, Councillor Cal, go ahead.
I often watch the county meetings now that they're available online. So to a certain degree, I would love a report that I could read if I hadn't had a chance to watch the county council meetings.
Sure.
So I agree in some ways too, that it helps streamline the process. I think I've reached out to you about things that are coming up on the county agenda in the past. So you're very easy to get a hold of and to communicate with. So I personally think that's a great approach, is to have something in the consent agenda where you can provide highlights for us. And if we have questions or want to know more, that would be when we could ask you about it.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, and I certainly endeavor to keep you informed of that. Okay, any other comments from councillors on that? I can accommodate council. I've had two people speak to it. Council make the decisions, not one or two members, but Councillor Vink. But I'm more than happy to do this, Deputy Mayor and Councillor Cal. It's no problem at all for me. Councillor Vink, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I thought we were going to go to, I wanted to give a fire report, but I will make a quick comment. It is kind of nice for people that are listening to the meeting that they hear you talking about what's going on in the county, because when it's in the consent agenda, a lot of people is not going to open up that item. And so I can see the positive part of you describing what's happening in the county at a regular meeting as well.
Okay. There might be a solution to that. The main report can be written, and if there's anything that I can bring out, don't forget, Councillor Vink, that any consent agenda item can be withdrawn. And if you wish so if you wish a report to be commented on, we certainly can do that too. If it is in the consent agenda, it doesn't put up any barriers for that to be discussed. And I'll certainly keep an eye on you, and I'll try to accommodate the wishes of yourself, Councillor Cal, and Deputy Mayor. I think we can work a solution to make everyone satisfied. And if it's not, bring it to my attention. Yeah, Deputy Mayor, could you take the meeting over for just a minute on the bylaws? I have a call and it seems to be some urgency, okay?
Yep.
Thank you.
Oh,
very much.
absolutely. I don't
Yep,
mind.
thank you very much.
Take your time.
Council, I apologize for that. It's a security matter on a property I have to look at. I've just got a warning on it, okay? I'll be
No,
right with you.
absolutely. No,
Thank you.
I'm good. Thank you. Okay, so we're at number 16, bylaws. Can I get a mover and a seconder for second and third confirming bylaw for today? Moved by Councillor Schuldeis, seconded by Councillor Bartlett. Discussion? All those in favor? All those in favor? Carried. And Jill, there's nothing else for this meeting. Okay.
Deputy Mayor, I wanted to fire committee report.
Oh, sorry about that, Councillor Vink. Yes, you wanted to give a report for the Elvinston Fire Board. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yeah, I attended a meeting a week or so ago in Elliston for the Brook Fire Services. And just a few items. For Kristen, our budget will be going from 22,000 to 30,565 with a preliminary figure. So that's an increase of 8,500. The Inwood Fire Hall has been closed and they have sold off some of the equipment. And so the Brook Fire Service is going to buy a new pickup truck so that they can get to the fire calls quicker. And that's increase the capital cost. And that's why the budget is going to be increasing. And so it's actually a good idea that they can get 5 or 6 people or 4 people to the fire quicker than the fire truck. But consequently for this year, the fire budget will be having a bit of an increase.
Okay, are there any questions on that report? Councillor Crothers, did I see your hand up?
I had another subject to speak about.
Okay, Councillor Cowell, you have a question on Councillor Vink's report?
Did we know about this when we passed our budget?
No,
No, we did not. Short answer. Kristen, did you want to answer that?
I was just kind of devising in my head how we'll handle that, but I usually, for operating differences, I will wait until the end of the year and see if maybe we are, sorry, Deputy Mayor, if we are maybe under budget in fire salaries or other operational areas of fire, and then try and offset the costs that way.
Does that answer your question, Councillor Cowell?
I have a follow-up.
Go ahead.
Could we choose not to do that? Is that like, I know with the board of directors for the Lower Thames, we have to bring back that increase to our municipalities, and I think the municipalities vote on the increase and then support it. So I'm just wondering if that's the same process for something like this, and if we wanted, are we just stuck with it, kind of thing?
This is our share as being a partner into that agreement for fire service, but I'll let Jill answer it. Or maybe Martin, you want to take a stab at it? I saw your hand up there just last minute. Go ahead, Martin.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yes, this is an agreement that we have between the 2 municipalities. And of course, they had not set the budget for this year, so there's nothing untoward that's been done here. So it's just that our budget was done early, and they're giving us the figures basically in January, February for this year. So there's been no mistake made by anybody here.
Councillor Cowell, are you okay with that?
I didn't think there was a mistake. I was just
No.
wondering, when we think of percentage increases, I cannot do math at all, and I never do. But that would be like a 10 or 15 or 20% increase in our usual budget. And when we tried to keep so many things low because of COVID, and we kept so many of our other budgets at an increase of 1%, I'm just really concerned at the cost increase when you look at it percentage wise. I can appreciate that. Value wise, $8,000 doesn't seem like a large increase, but when we take a look at percentages and how the other groups or things that we have relationships with have looked at cost increases at 2 or lower percentage, that's all that I was concerned about. And I'm sure we'll see a report come back to this. Eventually it'll be, I think, in the consent agenda. So I'm happy to see that information and ask more questions about it then.
Okay, thank you. Councillor, you had a question on this report
Yes,
from Councillor Vink?
Yeah, thank you. Through your deputy mayor to Councillor Vink. Is this anticipated to be a 1-year increase and we'll be going back down to normal rates after this?
Councillor Vink?
I wouldn't, thank you, Mayor. I would, like I said, they've closed the Inwood Fire Hall and they bought a new pickup. They're spending $245,000 on capital expenditures. They're also going to upgrade their main building in Elmston. And so I think we are looking at one-time costs for these two items. So I think we certainly won't see this type of increase the following year.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor
you.
Mayhew?
Yes, thank you,
there's no
Mayor,
other
very much.
reports,
I
we're at
apologize for
adjournment.
that, council and administration. It was a false alarm, so as most are, but thank you very much. I've actually enjoyed sitting back and listening to the discussion. Thank you, Councillor Vink. Chief Sewell, is there any comment you'd like to make on this? Sometimes we forget that our contributions to protect our ratepayers involve Melbourne and Alveston, not just the Wardville station, the Glencoe station. Any comment, Chief, on that?
I agree with Councillor Vic, Mr. Mayor, Vink, Mr. Mayor. I did have a chance to quickly look over their budget proposal, and I think it's just a timing issue, and it looked like quality items that they need to move the business forward. My commitment, because I just got in here in November, moving forward, is I have no issue with sitting in or even having a dialogue with Councillor Vink and having the team type thing to work with our neighbors. So I agree with everything that Councillor Vink has stated so far.
Okay, thanks very much, Chief. Okay, good. Yes, Councillor Crothers, I see your hand. Go ahead.
Yes, to you, the mayor. Regarding fire department, this is to do with the retrofit, proposed retrofit of the Glencoe Fire Department building. This is something definitely everybody knows it needs to be done as soon as possible. What we do need for as council to vote on this is we need some data. Apparently there was a fair difference in the two tenders. We need some data on what we're getting as far as equipment and so on, operating costs, because what's happening is every month that we get a hydro bill here, we are paying what we're told is more than what it should cost to this building. So if Chief Sewell would be able to come up with more information so council can actually see what we're to vote on, that would definitely be helpful.
Thank you, Councillor Crothers. Chief Sewell, just before you respond to Councillor Crothers, I just want to inform council that I share Councillor Crothers' concern that the heating system at the fire hall is a critical system that we have to address. Council chose not to accept the recommendation of staff. Therefore, the chair wants to know if there's substantial reason for that and where do we go from here. And as Councillor Crothers indicated, this is of somewhat of, I would say, time-sensitive issue. this equipment comes back to the fire hall iced, and these guys are cold to the bone. So we have to come up with an alternative. The only thing I caution council on is that if there is dialogue that involves identifiable people, that we are permitted to discuss a subject in committee of the whole in camera. And just for the protection of the corporation, if any dialogue or questioning regarding the past history, staff's efforts, the technical specifications, Mr. Crothers, particularly the technical specifications, because that is academic knowledge, and very often that is wanted to be kept confidential as well. So I just remind council that if we're going to pursue discussions in that, it may have to be in some intimacy. Thank you. Councillor Cowell, go ahead.
It's my understanding that we've passed the confirming bylaw, which is the bylaw that instructs staff to act on anything. And at this point, I don't think we can pass any more motions or do any more council business because we've already passed the conforming bylaw. But I'm sure the CAO can clarify that.
Go ahead, Jill, if you'd like.
Yep, you came back just as the meeting was about to adjourn, so that's where we're at in the agenda process.
Okay, well, my absence may have been, but I remind Councillor Crothers that I know you're passionate about that, Councillor Crothers, and please use the tools available to you that you have. If you wish to make a notice of motion at a future date, please do so. And I just would like to convey to the fire department that I don't want you to think council's forgotten about them. I think this has to be a discussion that has to come to a conclusion, and I look forward to council's input and the guidance the staff give us. I think, did I see Councillor Shouldice's hand up? Mike, did you have your hand up?
No, but I think Councillor Crothers does again.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Follow up, Councillor Crothers.
Yes, I would make a notice of motion that we do get more information. If it needs to be in camera, that's fine with me. I would like to see this move forward as soon as possible. The best possible way. I would make that notice of motion. Okay.
If it's permitted at this stage of the meeting, Ian, we can, but if it's not, it may have to come forward at our next meeting. Jill, could you clear, you have your hand up, I see.
So Councillor Cowell's correct. So you've already confirmed all the business for this meeting. If you wanted to reopen it up again as a continuation of a meeting, but really this one was just meant to be to finish up the items from the previous meeting. The mayor has spoken to me immediately after council's last session to talk about options available to the municipality to deal with what the heating situation is and the decision of the council at the last meeting. So he and I are in discussion on that right now.
Okay. So we're not, yeah, thank you, Jill, and we're not going to let it slide. I know everyone has an opinion on that, and we value also the opinion of those councillors that have been with us have been with the municipality for some time. They have an element of history on this as well that we may want to discuss as well. Thank you, Jill. But we certainly will not forget the fire department. I believe the bylaws, confirming bylaw is done. Has that been voted upon, Jill? It has. Thank you very much. Future meetings date is nothing to report. Just before I adjourn, I'd just like to state publicly that I, on behalf of council, thank all of administration and staff for the reports that they present. This short meeting today has been a fine example of the reports that we receive from you. It certainly helps in our decision making. From time to time, I'm sure there is always a disagreement, but again, it's not reflective of ability. I guess it's perhaps most of it is communications, even misunderstandings. So I just compliment staff on the work they do, and we'll get through any bumps in the road that that come before this council, and perhaps this is a small one that we'll overcome. Council, without any hands up, I think we can adjourn the meeting at 2:30 exactly.